This is Metal Roofing University with Adam and Mason.
We have with us the great Todd Miller, the king of metal roofing. Todd, thanks for coming on, man.
Pleasure to be here. Great to see you guys.
Well, Todd, we know you, and we've gotten to know you a little bit better over the last couple of years as we've had a chance to work together on some projects.
Sure.
But tell us and our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do in the steel and metal forming industry.
Sure. Fantastic. Well, first of all, compliments to you guys and for all you do and for your podcasting and the great efforts you're putting out there in the industry. And you're making a difference and raising the bar for all of us. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
So my company, our company is Isaiah Industries. We're a manufacturer of primarily metal shingles. So we do a lot of aluminum shingles, a lot of steel shingles. Of course, your national division does some distribution of our products, and we're very blessed to have you guys as a partner in that respect. So we've been at it since 1980. The company was founded by my father. This has been my entire career. Started here full-time in '86 out of college, and love what I do. We work with contractors, distributors, architects across the country, do quite a bit of export into Canada and Japan and the Caribbean, do a lot of business in Hawaii as well. I would say one of the things that kind of differentiates us from some of the other metal shingle manufacturers is we do produce a lot of aluminum products as well as steel, whereas most of the others are pretty steel-centric. But over the years, I've been blessed to be involved with both Metal Construction Association and Metal Roofing Alliance, which are two great trade organizations. Metal Construction Association is a fantastic website resource for folks who might be looking for technical information, or maybe you need technical bulletins to kind of support, a certain point. They've got some great technical bulletins on lightning and oil canning and a number of other things. Service life expectancy is another area they've done a lot of research. Metal Roofing Alliance, on the other hand, is more just a market development agency just out there to raise awareness of metal roofing and help educate consumers. And I think all of us, Best Buy Metals, our company, the associations, I think one of our big focuses really has to be keeping the quality level up there. In terms both of encouraging best practices on the part of contractors, encouraging folks to go out and educate consumers and be able to provide information, because we all know there are some folks buying metal roofs and not necessarily getting what they were hoping or what they were expecting for. And sometimes that has more to do with their contractor choice than anything, but there are great contractors out there too, thank goodness. And so, and then of course, we're also seeing, some things happening with secondary products slipping into our market, some low quality offshore product on occasion. And it's really just all about education. There's good stuff out there, but you got to educate yourself so you know the difference. So I think that's something your company, our company, those trade associations can do collectively to just raise that bar and make sure that everything's as good as it possibly can be for the future of the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And we call this Metal Roofing University because we believe education in our industry and education for the end user is so important. That's actually one of the reasons why we have you and your team at our facility this week. Is we feel like it's really valuable for us to be able to take technical information and proper installation practices from our sales team to the end user. So tell us a little bit about what you guys have done here at Best Buy Metals this week, and maybe some of the advantages that will help our team go to market, and also some of the advantages the customers, the end users, will experience because of the training.
Sure. And it's great that you are putting that kind of effort and investment into your team so that they really can be a great resource of trusted, reliable information on the part of consumers and customers and contractors alike who come to you. So we've talked a lot about it, a lot of great things. We've looked at some great flashing methods on metal shingle systems in particular. Spent some time with your national sales team talking about features and benefits of metal roofing, talking about, certain myths that are out there and how you can address those, how you can help consumers understand. And then this morning, I spent quite a bit of time just talking about an issue that comes up a lot, which the common way we hear it in our industry is, don't those metal roofs sweat? And so talking about the whole condensation concern and making sure that homeowners are protected against that, making sure that they understand that metal doesn't really change the thermal dynamics of a structure, but it may give you some additional things to think about at times. So I had some great conversations about condensation. I have said the word moist way too many times in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that's definitely an enemy of an interior structure, I suppose. And speaking of being technical experts, we've always said that that's as far as consumers choosing a manufacturer or choosing a contractor, that's always a red flag that we try to point out to consumers. If you're dealing with somebody that does not appear to be a technical expert in the product they're offering, that might be a concern to an end consumer, right? They should be able to have the confidence that their supplier or that their installer is familiar with the technical aspects of their materials. And so, part of the training that Isaiah Industries is doing with our team right now, Adam, is not just showing them some videos. But we've actually got scale roof decks built right here in the lobby, and we're doing hands-on training with one of Todd's installers or technical experts, and he's showing them exactly how the pieces lock together in scale with real pieces on a real roof deck. Yeah. And so our people are up close and personal, and that gives them a level of understanding of the product that a lot of people aren't able to get.
That was one of the things that was nice to talk to you about last night, Todd, and Marlon had also mentioned this as well, is that when homeowners have a question, they're comfortable enough to pick up the phone and speak to you or speak to our team and say, hey, I'm not quite sure how this rake piece comes together, or how do I merge at the hip of a roof? And being able to answer those questions with confidence is so key. I mean, we talk about not just exercising excellence to make the sale, but really throughout the entire customer transaction. The sale is one part of the transaction, but getting proper installation and having a beautiful roof that a customer is going to be happy with for the duration of that system, hopefully a lifetime, is really important. And your team coming in and helping our team understand how to answer those questions is important. And dealing with the entire sales cycle from purchase to installation to enjoying the beauty of the product and the value of the product, I think is also something that's really important to you and your team at Isaiah Industries. Is that something that you guys like to highlight?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about that entire customer experience, start to finish. And, I've heard you guys say it a couple times here just in the last day that, how much you care about that experience and how you even liken it to what Chick-fil-A does. So big shout out to our friends at Chick-fil-A.
Not the first shout out on the podcast.
They are fantastic, though, at being able to deliver that customer experience. And you go to any store, any location, you know exactly what that experience is going to be, and it's going to be top notch. And that's what really differentiates the big boys from the not so big guys out there in terms of quality and success and attention and care to detail. And honestly, at the end of the day, it makes life so much more fun for your team when they know that they're delivering that level of service and support and care to people. I mean, it feels sometimes when you go down that path and you're training your team like, gosh, I'm asking a lot of them, and do they really want to do this? And they could go over here and work and they wouldn't be asked that. And even as I think about contractors who are out there, but on the other hand, knowing that level of expectation and delivering it is very meaningful to team members. And at the end of the day, they go home feeling much better working for an organization like that. And I know we had shared some experiences last night, and both of our companies have had the experience of team members leaving us, thinking, gosh, the grasses might be greener over there. And 6 months later, they're calling because the grass wasn't greener over there. And they really have developed a craving for that level of care that high caliber, world performing companies provide. And that really boils down to customer experience.
And one of our core values is to create a workplace where people can really experience joy and fullness of joy in their life. And I don't think that can be topped by many things, and having a customer who's just so satisfied and so glowing from their experience. Our team members, when I see a review or when I see them get off of the phone with a customer who's just like beaming satisfaction with the experience, I mean, the team is energized and they're excited, and they really find joy in the work that they're doing. And I think companies that fail to meet that customer expectation don't ever get a chance to experience that. And, that's a shame. I really appreciate companies that see the value, because we're serving customers, but we're also serving our teams by holding them to a standard and helping them establish that standard where they can get that great feedback.
Yeah, and really what you're doing is you're empowering your team to go that extra effort. And a lot of it goes back, I'm dating myself, but it goes back to the Tom Peters books of the 80s. And that whole Neiman Marcus feel that we are empowering our team members to do whatever they got to do to deliver a superior experience for that customer. And, part of that in our industry, because we do work in an industry that is, I want to say, relatively technical, in that if a roof isn't put up right, they're not going to have a good experience. So you got to be able to have, teams that are willing to learn that technical end of things, which is what we've been doing here the last day or so, and then willing to share that, and they feel empowered to share that. And a word I've heard you say more than once, Adam, is, transparency. And, that whole thing of being able to be very open and honest. And I think we've all seen that. You see a new team member come in and you see them relating to people and being relatively guarded in their speech. And you almost got to take them aside and coach them and say, why are you being so guarded here? There's no secrets here. It really is, we're really only successful when we are very transparent and honest and open and have everything out on the table for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about the customer experience and having joy in the process and joy in our work, and you said that about Chick-fil-A, and I'll talk about Chick-fil-A all day. Adam knows that. But I love them as an example in business because I feel like there is such a stark contrast. Fast food to me feels like you're trading good service for quick food, right? That's the trade-off. It's not the best service, but you get food fast. If you want good service, go to like an elegant steakhouse, right? But I feel like they bridged that gap in you go there, they feel glad that you're there. They really disrupted the fast food industry, and there's people standing out in the parking lot waiting for you to get there. They're excited when you pull up. And I was traveling to our Charlotte facility the other day, Adam, and unfortunately had to stop off at a McDonald's because it's what was around. Yikes. But to my surprise, when I pulled up, they had guys out in the parking lot. They had the tent popped up, and they were modeling the exact same thing that Chick-fil-A has been doing. I thought, man, if that's not evidence that Chick-fil-A has disrupted this market. Todd, me and you were talking earlier about the metal roofing industry and the metal construction industry being a bit of an old guard and kind of searching for the next generation of leaders in this industry. How important is it for the future of the metal roofing industry that it adapts and continues to evolve, and that a new generation finds ways to disrupt the industry? Sure.
Well, I think what happens so much in industries is if they just continue and you don't have the disruptors, most industries at the end of the day end up in a race to the bottom. Because they don't have the differentiating value, the differentiating things that allow them to continue to strive to be better and better. So everything ends up being about price. And we know that the natural reaction to things being about price is quality goes down. I mean, that's the only way at some point you're going to drive price down is by driving quality out. And so we've got to have that younger generation that cares, and that younger generation that is prepared to come up with the unique and special ideas that disrupt things and move things up to higher levels. Otherwise, any industry becomes a race to the bottom.
Yeah, I feel like, there was this season, and Mason and I have been in the roll form steel industry for a little while, but there was a season maybe for the last 5-6 years where it was pretty calm and undisrupted. And there was definitely a lot of complacency that started to form. And we felt like there was a lot of attacks on, let's bring in steel that's just good enough. Let's bring in paint finishes that are just good enough. Let's provide service that's just good enough, because there wasn't really anything that was shaking it up. And then last year, COVID came in and it disrupted some things.
Yeah.
And I think it really disrupted things in a healthy way, because it started to make people think, well, if there's a risk of me losing my customer base because these things are changing, how do I become more attractive to customers again? And it's almost a shame that it took something like that to really kind of shake us. But, what did you guys see? Because the steel shingles are a little bit different, and the aluminum shingles are a little bit different than what we experience in our market. We have some overlap, but they're a little bit different. What are some of the things that you guys had to adapt to and adjust to? And were there any changes that really stood out to you that your company had to make out of almost necessity or out of preparation for the disruption, that when kind of the dust started to settle, you were like, well, that's actually a good thing, and that's something that really maybe will be helpful for us in the future?
Sure. So, the one thing, it has nothing to do with roofing. One of the things, and I think you guys were aware of this, we immediately started doing was making metal nose strips that we gave to people who were making face masks. And at last count, we were like 3.5 million of those things that we had made and shipped all over the country. So that got us into an area. And, I'd always kind of been a dream of mine that maybe another part of our business would look at medical supply manufacturing. So it ended up being metal nose strips that I gave away for free for the most part. But it's all good. One of the things that we noticed, and it's interesting, we noticed this also back in 2009 when the economy was in the tank, based upon what happened in 2008. Our business actually grew, and a lot of that growth ended up being higher-end homeowners who had planned on building new that suddenly said, well, maybe I'll stay where I am and I'll remodel instead. So one of the things that we have seen is the level of complexity of jobs we're involved with, and the size of jobs has really gone up. Which, I think is kind of a result of COVID and just what consumers are doing. Now, that's going to cycle back around. I'm confident it's not always going to, houses can't keep getting bigger and more complicated, thank goodness. But, that is something that we've really noticed that has been pretty striking, as job sizes have gotten bigger and more complicated, which then puts more pressure on us to make sure that installers out there are trained, know what they're doing, they're comfortable, and also that they know who to contact when they do have questions. And, the worst thing for anyone putting up any building material is the guy who gets in over his head, and he kind of realizes he's in over his head, but he doesn't know where to turn, so he just keeps going forward and just keeps digging his hole deeper. And so, we want those relationships and those connections, whether it's someone DIYing or whether it's someone, a contractor or a national contracting company. We want them to know, hey, we got the folks that will walk you through that. And, you've spent some time with Marlon here, and we have someone else back at the office, Mark, who does very similar work. But I would say those guys probably 40% of their time, maybe 30% of their time is spent with people who aren't even installing our products. They've simply found us as, hey, these people seem to know what they're doing, and they seem to have the ethics and the value that forces them to help people. And so, we all spend tons of time helping people that have nothing to do with our products. And you feel good about that, too.
That's a testament to dedication to customer service, if there ever was one.
No doubt.
Well, you got to care about your industry. And, above all, we care about our fellow man. And, that's something that drives all of us. So.
I think at the end of the day, that's the kind of companies that all three of us agree we would like to see more of in our industry, for sure. And that's the kind of attitude that I think creates a healthy metal construction industry. And that's what we try to do here with Metal Roofing University. And we say it at the end of every episode, if you've got a question, even if it's not something that we sold you, feel free to contact us and we'll help you out. any way that we can. And Todd, thank you for taking some time
thanks.
Yeah,
to
thank you very
come on
much.
this episode and hang out with us. And it's been a blast having you and your team here. And we appreciate you guys being dedicated to helping our team as well.
Yeah, thank you for all you do, and we appreciate the relationship. And we got to hang out together more. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
times.
Well, we'll wrap things up here. So Todd Miller from Isaiah Industries, the decorative steel shingles and aluminum shingles, is that something that you're interested in, reach out to our sales team here at Best Buy Metals. And they're even more equipped now than they were
They know
when
more
we
now than
started
ever.
the week, and we're excited to be able to help. Mason, maybe we can link to some of the associations that Todd mentioned at the beginning of the episode. If you
Absolutely.
have questions and need access to some resources, we'll make that easy to get to. And you want to sign us out?
Yeah, so check out the show notes, and I'll put links to the MRA and the MCA, and of course to Isaiah Industries in the show notes. So check that out, and you can also find more resources and other episodes at metalroofingu.com.